Peace and prosperity. Welcome back to Deep Speak with Brother Sadiq. Today is episode 7. I will be talking to you about my move to Indianapolis from Bloomington at age 32. At 32, I was the father of 4 boys and was responsible for ruining 2 marriages. um, that's nothing that I take lightly. I was actually moving to Indianapolis with the intention of bettering myself and building some of my future so that me and my estranged wife could get back together. During this time, she determined that she wanted to see other people, which broke my heart. I was in Indianapolis. She moved away from Bloomington to Cincinnati, and my oldest 2 sons were in South Bend. So I was in Indianapolis. My oldest 2 were in South Bend, Indiana, and my youngest 2 were in Cincinnati at the time. And I was in a kind of emotionally depleted. I had been working with a major effort to try to get my family back together, praying, not being distracted by. I didn't even have a television at the time. I was working, praying. And so when I moved to Indianapolis, I moved in with 2 of my cousins. They were originally from Bloomington and they had moved to Indy. And so I was trying to get away from the area and I moved to Indy, hoping to go to school at Lincoln Tech. Got there was issue with financial aid, so I started working. I started managing. Well, I actually didn't start as a manager. I started as a runner at a valet company in the downtown Indianapolis area. So while working for this company, I basically had a pretty routine life. I was living in Indianapolis. I would go to work every day. I'd get off work. I'd come home and I'd read and I would pray. Very rarely watching TV because, as I said, I didn't own a TV. And so I was working to praying and hoping that I could get my family back. When she said that she was ready to move on, of course, that broke my heart. So gave up on that. And while I was working for this company, there were other employees working, and they told me that there's a rumor that they're selling this company and moving to Florida. And so I went and talked to the owners. They were pretty hands-on, pretty direct. We saw them fairly much every day. And I asked them, privately, hey, so I'm hearing you guys are thinking about selling the company and moving to Florida. And they like, yeah, something like that. We, gonna go down there and we want to check it out and see what it looks like or whatever and, check our prospects. And I'm like, well, I think it would be smarter versus selling the company and moving down there, running that risk, to make managers at your company, make managers, and then they can manage the accounts. You guys will be free to go to Florida and check on, branching out or whatever. And you'd still have your money moving here so that it wouldn't be a burden. And they was like, that's a pretty good idea, Charles. They agreed. And so I actually became like the head manager, so I trained all the managers for this company. And I guess I was the head guy for a while, supervisor, however you want to call it. And so made pretty good money. All the employees who worked with me, when they worked with me, they always appreciated that they made more money when working with me than other managers. And so I felt like I was pretty good at my job. And I think they thought so too. So eventually they got a couple of more restaurants because of the idea, and they went ahead and got a hotel. And when they got the hotel, it was new. It was something new. We had never done a hotel. We had only done restaurant. And valet service for a restaurant, if any of you have done it, is about 3 to 4 hour turnaround, sometimes a lot less. So people will go to the restaurant, they'll valet their car, go in, eat, have dinner, have drinks, maybe a meeting, and then they'll come out, and that's the end of the transaction. With the hotel business, it's a totally different flow of traffic. Your turnaround as far as your finances may be a month before you are paid, depending on the stay of the person who you valet. So it's a totally different beast than the restaurant business. So me being the head guy, they wanted me to do it. I didn't want to do it. I told them I was content where I was, and that if they could get someone else to do it, and they said, "No, you're our main guy. We want you to do it." So I went over there. Um, they didn't really have a structured game plan on how we would do it, and uh, it was a lot of stress. And so eventually, after about a month and a half, I explained to him how my finances were going backwards. I appreciated that you had given me a raise and you had that kind of confidence in me, but my finances were going backwards. And so they said, "We understand, it's a different setup. You don't get paid every day. And so we will correct your pay at the end of the month." So, okay, that's what it is. So I'm working for the company. At the end of the month, I'm expecting to receive compensation, maybe $2,200. At the end of the month, they gave me a check for about $250. Um, I didn't know how to go about dealing with that. I was the owners. These are the two owners, and I'm like the third guy. And so it was kind of frustrating. And I'm like dealing with this inside, and I'm like, this isn't fair. So I finally go to him and I tell him, I expected, this much money, and what I got didn't seem fair. And they said, "Well, I understand, but what we did was took an average of every manager and what they were making. This was a slow month for everybody, and so this is what we determined you should have." And I'm like, "Well, I understand that, but as you know, I tend to make more than all the other managers when I'm doing valet for restaurants. And so, with that being a factor, I would think I would make a little bit more than what you would average out." Long story short, they disagreed. Um, and I said, "Well, I appreciate the raise and the confidence, but I would rather go back to my other position." So, over a week or so, you could feel the tension. And eventually, they moved me to a restaurant that was a new restaurant, not where I had been originally. I had kind of created a regular customer base who knew me and I knew them, and we had an intimate relationship to some degree. And so I asked to be placed back at my other restaurant. They wouldn't. They put me at this new restaurant that honestly did not need valet. They actually had a parking garage on top of the building. So, of course, my finances were going backwards, and I had already explained this. So, I am living in a state of frustration. My sons are far away from me in two different directions. Um, Recently heartbroken in a divorce situation. And now the company that I'm working for and who I've given ideas to stabilize and grow um, are treating me less than. So I was at a very frustrated place at 32. Um, I was a Muslim, and on Fridays we go to Jummah prayer, which is like on Sunday for the Christians. Um, that is the congregational prayer. So on Friday, um, I was attending a mosque on Cold Springs Road in Indianapolis, and just feeling very frustrated with the whole scenario of the job and my sons being far away and the effort I put in to try to rebuild a relationship, and it all just nothing. I was at a point where most people would say, "I'm out of here. Give me the pistol. Give me the pills. I'm gone." I was that low. So instead of doing that, obviously, I went to the mosque and I let it go. I vented. I cried, snot bubbles like a baby, and I snapped. I said, "God, I didn't ask to come here. Allah, you made me. I didn't ask to be created. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what the purpose is. I've tried everything that I thought was the right way to do everything. I tried to do of course I messed up some of the, but I tried to correct everything that I did wrong as far as my marriages go. I tried to do that right. I'm trying to do the corporate thing, right? The suit and tie downtown. I'm praying all the time. I'm not distracted with the television. What is the deal? So I'm venting. I'm going off. I'm crying like a baby. I didn't ask to come here. I don't know what your intention was in making me. Growing up in Detroit wasn't so pretty. I don't know what this is all about. And if you don't tell me why you put me here, if you don't give me some inside understanding of why I'm here and what you wanted me here for, then don't say nothing about how I move. And don't say nothing about how I go. Because I'm ready to go. I'm not feeling this. Right? This is at the mosque. I'm crying, people probably uncomfortable or whatever. But I had to, I didn't come for them. So I came for that purpose. And I let it go. I vented and cried like a baby. This was on a Friday, 1:30 in the afternoon or whatever. So, I leave, I vent, I cry, whatever. I go to work at this company who I'm not feeling appreciated anymore. So I work Friday, I work Saturday, and Sunday night I'm downtown Indianapolis. I am at this hotel, Homewood Suites on Meridian Street. And when I was doing this valet, I had been there, more than a year, I think. And so I had, the homeless people downtown kind of had gotten used to me. I was doing pretty good financially, so I would give them money. I had tips, cash almost every day, so I would give them money. And it wasn't, on this day, obviously I'm having financial problems. And so it's like 2, 3 in the morning on Sunday night or whatever you want to call it, Monday morning, however. And I'm out front of the hotel walking or whatever, and I see this homeless guy coming towards me. And I'm trying to outpace him so that we don't line up. But anyway, because I didn't have money to help him. So anyway, he came, he got to me and he said, "Hey, brother, I got this watch that I'm trying to sell." And I see the watch. It's a nice watch. It's a pocket watch on a chain, the kind you pop open and, nice watch. So we talking to him like, "Bro, I appreciate, what you're doing, but I myself, my money funny right now, and I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to try to play. I want to play you on this is a nice watch. I want to play you on what this is worth. You might be able to get $1 better than what I can get you." So the brother was like, "Nah, whatever you can do is fine with me. Whatever you feel like you can do." So I had $20 in my pocket. I said, "I can give you $20, bro." And he said, that's fine. So that happened. As soon as we exchanged the money for the watch, the homeless man, he said, "Brother, I'm honored to be in your presence. I've been looking for you for a number of years. I didn't even know why I was alive, but I know why I'm alive now. I know what I was here for. You asked Allah why you alive. You wanted to know why you here. You asked Allah why you here." Right after the watch, right after the exchange, that's what he said. So I'm stuck. I'm like, "What?" I'm blew back. I'm right. Chin on the floor. He like, "It's like you watching a movie, huh, boss? It's almost like you're reading a book or something." Even more potent, like, because now it's like you seeing inside my head how I see what is happening. Like when that happened, bro, I almost fainted. I almost fainted. My knees got weak. The air got tingly seeming. It was just a weird experience, right? So this happened, and of course I'm just like, "What?" And he like, "I've been looking for you for years. I didn't know why I was alive." And woo, 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 woo. Tell me this whole long story. So I'm blew back, right? He leaves. We talked for a couple of hours about a whole bunch of stuff. He leaves. I'm like, well, he's saying he finna leave. I'm like, "Bro, you gonna come back tomorrow? I need to see you. What is going on? Allah sent you. How does this? How am I? What all this crazy? You know what I'm saying? A bunch of questions, right? So he like, "I'll be back tomorrow, bro. I'll be back tomorrow." So by this time, I was dating a young lady at one of the restaurants. She was a hostess there, and so I bring her around around the next day. I'm like, "Hey," I tell her about the scenario. "Hey, this homeless dude said, Allah sent him to me. Woo, he been looking for me. So that's what I tell her that." And I'm like, I want you to come over here though, because honestly, on that night that he first appeared to me, there was nobody else on the street. Nobody walked by. No cars went by, and that in itself was weird. It's Sunday night or whatever, but it's downtown Indianapolis. It's a city. You don't. Nobody walked by. Nobody. It was just me and him for hours, probably 2 hours, talking about spiritually spooky stuff. Because at that time, that's what it was. It was very, over my head. So the next day, she comes. I see her. He's not there yet. It's 11:30 or 12 or something at night. So I see her, and I'm like, hey, you know, okay, you here, cool. So I see the dude. I see my man, the homeless guy. I'm like, hey, okay. So I go over to him. I'm like, tell me if you can see this dude, right? Tell me if you can see him. Can you see him? And she like, yeah, I see him. I'm like, well, what he got on? She like, he got on this or that or whatever. She explained what he went. Okay, she can see him, right? Because for me, it wasn't even real. Like that couldn't be real. Like that was something that couldn't have been. It didn't seem real. So once she said she could see him, okay, this is real. So we had this conversation again. He telling me about this and that and this and that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm a Muslim. So if Allah sent you to me, then what is my name? What is my Muslim name? What would my name be? He like, I can't tell you right now, but I'll tell you tomorrow. So that was that night. It was more conversation, but that was like one of the highlights. So okay, she saw him. I asked him that question. Next day, he come back. He like, your name. I don't know what your name is, like in Arabic or in Islam or whatever. But I'm gonna tell you what your name means. Is your name, your title is the honorable one. I'm like, oh, the honorable one. He said, whatever it means, the honorable one. That's who you are. You are the honorable one. Okay. Where you get this from? From God. Okay. I'm just okay. All right. Okay. This all crazy, right? Getting too crazy, right? I'm a Muslim. I don't go this route. So this is what I do. I'm like, check this out, bro. I need you to come with me somewhere. He like, okay, I'll go anywhere you want me to go. Let's go. I'm like, all right. So I call the imam um, who married me. His name is Brother Daoud Abdul Rahman. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Lives in Indianapolis. Older brother, probably 70 years old now or older. Anyway, I'll tell him this scenario. Man, homeless man comes to me talking about Allah sent him to me. Woo, 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 woo. He like, okay, well, that's that. Bring him to my house. So he like invite us to his house. We go to his house. The whole scenario is crazy because I go to I take the homeless man with myself to Brother Daoud's house. No one's there. It's just Brother Daoud. We go in. Um, Brother Daoud serves us tea. We all have some tea. Brother Daoud asks the homeless man some questions about basic beliefs in God and cleanliness and why he in homeless situation, et cetera, et cetera. They go over that. Then after the small talk or whatever, I say, okay, now to the homeless man, you tell Brother Daoud, which is an imam as far as I understand, what you told me, what you said Allah told you about me and all of that. You tell him everything you told me. So he goes in, he said, he got to build something. He's supposed to be doing that. His name, the honorable one. He tell him all of this stuff. So, after the explanation, Daoud say, brother, all right, excuse us. We're going to go in the back for a minute. We go in the back. Brother Daoud asked me, what you think about this? I'm like, I think it's over my head, bro. I mean, honestly, I know what I know about, my studies, and I've studied Christianity, I've studied Islam, whatever, I've studied some other religious, beliefs, but this is over my head. That's why I'm here. That's why I came to you, bro, because you OG, you older than me, you know what's up. So he said, if you look at your scripts and your text, then there are stories in throughout where it talks about how God will use the lowly and to confound the wise. And so if what this brother is telling you is in line with what you know is in relation to God, then you walk with it. But if what he's telling you is outside of that, then you leave it alone. And so for me, that was enough. Like, what? So you're accepting and acknowledging that this is a possible reality? And so for me, that was it blew me back. Okay, it put me on a spiritual cloud. I was floating. I felt like I was floating for months. I mean, a couple of months. Because what does that say? What does that mean? What is occurring here? That I cried like a baby. I prayed and I vented and I said, "What am I here for? If you ain't gonna tell me," I went and I did that. A couple of days later, homeless man I ain't never seen in my life walk up on me and say, "Allah sent me to you. You want to know why you was here?" Then I take him to the imam and say, "This is what's going on, bruh." And he say, "If he tell you something outside of Islam, don't mess with it. If it's within the deen, walk with him." So this is the beginning of a really deep story. And this is kind of what I was culminating to get to, because this is an experience that I had, and there are witnesses to this experience. I am not making anything up. I have nothing to prove. I am not trying to convince anyone of anything. The whole intention of me doing these videos is actually like a clarion call. Basically, I'm not trying to educate anyone or prove anything to anybody. I am sharing who I am, and those who have an association to some of what I am saying, some of you who are relating to what I am saying, you will understand that as we go forward, what I am saying is true. And if need be, I can bring witnesses. They're available, they're alive. So this is all provable. But God bless. So that's today's video. That's what it is. And this gentleman's name was Mr. Spinner. This is what he told me his name was, and that my name was the honorable one. So we will go further. We will get further with this video very shortly. And I thank you. Please share. Please comment. Subscribe. And like. Anyway, like I said, I'm still new to this. I'm doing this because it is a duty and a responsibility. And I won't be held accountable for not doing my duty. So, peace, blessings, love, and light. All is well, and I hope everybody is safe. See you soon.